When I was a kid, probably around 6 or 7, I never had any friends. People often found me weird since I was a silent little girl who just loves to draw. My sketch pads was basically my best friend, and I used to sit by this big tree at the center of my school, just basically sketching things that I see, things which people don't. As every child would, we usually would abandon our pencil when it wasn't sharp enough to draw. Well, I always carried a box of them since Mom knew it was my only comfort. Mom understood what we were all going through since she was the same when she was younger. We were often called weird because we see things that other people can't. It was a typical examination day and my classmates were already gone since their parents already picked them up. My parents worked from afar, so it wasn't really easy for them to fetch me. So I had until 5 o'clock p.m. to wait for my mom since she was a teacher. So while waiting, I was having some snacks while sitting by the tree. My sandwich was on my left hand, while my pad was on my lap. On my right hand was, of course, the pencil I was using while I was sketching. I drew one of those tiny people who laughed a lot in our backyard. They did somehow ask me to sketch them. Going back, as I was sketching, my pencil tip suddenly broke. So I took out another newly sharpened pencil from my box. My box has 10 now since I took out a new one. I placed the pencil with a broken tip beside me to my left. It wasn't there. I thought maybe it rolled off somewhere and I just ignored it. Then I broke another pencil tip again and placed it on my left, so it can be together with my other pencils. However, what happened was, my other pencil was also gone. As much as it seems like I was disposing of my pencils, I was simply gathering them since my mom will sharpen them later. So I went looking for the other 2 pencils. By this time, my sandwich was already finished. I held on to my box of pencils and left the recent one I took into place by the tree where I sat. I circled the entire place just to make sure I had no classmates around anymore. After all, it was way past the time already. Where did my pencil go? I said as I circled the tree once more and found none of my pencils. When I went back to my seat, I was surprised to see that even the recent one I took out went missing. So out of being annoyed, I took out the last 7 pencils and placed them on my left where I sat. I pretended as if I was sketching something and used my eyes to look at the pencils. My eyes went wide as I saw a large dark hand with long sharp nails coming out of the tree. I watched how it slowly and quietly took all of my pencils as they disappeared back into the tree. It was at that time I panicked and ran to the gate and finally decided to just wait for my mom there. My family has a curse. My grandfather used to tell an old tale of his father to my dad. According to my pops, his father had a friend living in a tree. My dad was someone who could see the paranormal, and that is passed on to our family members. Well, to my sisters, I basically could just feel or hear them, so that was one of my gifts. My grandpa lived in a rich home. They had tons of money and lived on hectares of land in the Philippines. Our ancestral home was 3 stories high and you could say we had a lot of money. We have a Hispanic heritage and many people thought then that all the wealth we had mainly came there. But no, it came elsewhere. My pop's dad had a friend. He was invisible to my pops, but he saw everything happen. One day, they didn't have any money on hand, and they needed cash immediately. My pops watched his father with his vintage car, empty of any objects, drove around a large tree within the property. He only took one turn around that large tree, and when he came back, bags of cash suddenly appeared in his car. It was like magic, but it wasn't. Well, the years had passed, and that wealth we once had already diminished. And along with it was a curse in exchange. That temporary wealthy life our family once had was now gone, and now we have to live with a curse. My father, aunt, cousins, my grandfather, my grandpa's younger brother, and all their family members have faced this curse. Male members of a family that carried our last name would all die before they hit 65. My dad died when he was only 56. And it was due to the same cause of death as everybody, a heart attack. All of them died of a heart attack. As for the female members, we all have a chance to break the curse. If we were to marry in church before we hit the age of 35, to officially be blessed while changing our last name, we could break free from this curse. My aunt didn't survive as she only married by law and not by the church. I actually have two older sisters. Currently, my oldest sister is experiencing the same symptoms as my aunt used to. Shortness of breath, nausea, everything that was obviously leading to a heart attack, despite eating healthy and sleeping well. My other sister, before she got married, had it. But after she got married in a church, her symptoms disappeared just like it was nothing but some type of flu. This is a real story in our family. A secret I am burdened to carry that no one will believe. They'd all think I was crazy for thinking this way. But currently, I am experiencing these symptoms as well. Worse of it, since I am nearing 30 and still unmarried. My dad and aunt, in their deathbed, always use their fingers like some pair of scissors to cut an invisible string in the air, saying, "Cut the curse. I must cut the curse." Right now, I need someone to help me break the curse. We are the last members carrying our last name. Well, I am the last member who has not hit 30 yet. I honestly hope I survive till then.